Hi everyone, this is Sky, and I'm just going to go ahead and sponsor my own video today with my Patreon page. I'm talking this week a little bit about what I consider to be probably one of the most important weeks of 2020, as we're astrologically moving into the time where the current season, with the sun being in Cancer, Mercury finally moving direct in Cancer, it's all going to transit up and oppose the Capricorn triple retrograde conjunction that we've been talking about so much on my channel for a while now. So with that in mind, I wanted to give everyone here on YouTube who is subscribed here on YouTube a little bit of insight about it, because I know that we're all kind of heavy-hearted during this time, and we're all kind of feeling like maybe small or struggling with burdens for some of us, struggling with fears, struggling with certain unknown context and trying to keep things contextual. I know that this week for a lot of us is not the easiest time. So in that vein, I wanted to share a brief segment, a brief snippet of what I do every week on Patreon, every Saturday, ever since we had the quarantine starting and all of us spending more time at home. I started doing weekly tea chats every single Saturday and talking about the oncoming week. And over on my Patreon page, we come together every single week. We talk on Discord, and we talk every Friday night as well during the live premieres here on YouTube, which are every week at 6 p.m. Pacific time. But we really enjoy in our community on Patreon to come together and look at the week ahead just from a sort of general place. And I try to really bring in a lot of messages, not just psychic, not just intuitive, but also philosophical and, just sort of from a human perspective, from my own experience, what I feel to be, coming, and I talk about my own experience. And some of you may have been considering signing up for my Patreon page for a while, and I just wanted to make a video specifically about Patreon and about my efforts on Patreon. So if you've been considering it, now is definitely the time. It's probably my main effort right now, just to kind of create a nice healing space for us. So if you've wanted to support this channel, it's very easy. You also get early access to all of the general readings. You get all of the extended readings. They're all early and they're all ad-free. So it's really an incredible value right now. And you can get all of that for as low as $5 a month. But then there are other tiers as well. If you wanted to support more, I have a whole separate podcast as well that I do over there too, called Benevolence. So if you guys haven't checked it out yet, or if you've been, thinking about it, now is definitely a time. And I'll put it in the top right-hand corner right now, where you can click to get this entire tea chat and more. And it will be in the description box as well. And for fun, we currently have a goal going. And once we achieve that goal, we're going to, get Sky on camera and lemons for everyone, because apparently the lemon is now our the fruit of our fandom apparently now. So we all have some kind of great admiration and love for lemons. I mean, it's a magical fruit. Maybe I'll do a whole channeling on lemons. But anyway, so fun aside, let's get the segment of this tea chat going. And I can't wait to talk more to you guys soon. And see you this week at Friday at 6 p.m. PST. We're going to talk about August as a month and get into Leo season content. So without further ado, everyone, here is the snippet of Tea Chat 22. See you guys soon, and definitely sign up for Patreon. Bye. Hi everyone, and welcome to the 22nd Tea Chat. I'm so happy to be here. Oh my gosh, I love this time of the week when everything is finished and I kind of come on to just sum up everything that I've been feeling and get an idea for what the next week is serving up. So the week of around July 12th to around July 18th, July 19th, it's got to be toned back a little bit, really, energetically. Whatever you can relate to toning back, getting easier on yourself with regards to harshness, yet at the same time embracing a very strict, regimented form of responsibility is imperative. I would say that this is one of the most consequential weeks of this entire year, as we are going to be having the sun, moving towards the opposition point of the Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto retrograde Capricorn conjunction. So things being easy or things just naturally kind of falling into place that should have already happened by now, where there's kind of just like, okay, here I am. This is what I do. This is who I have become. This is my output right now. My ear is ringing. And now, as we move into this week, it's not really supposed to be easy, okay? But it's not supposed to feel dangerous. Nothing should feel dangerous about this time. Nothing should feel risky. Nothing should feel like a gamble. There has to be acceptance, okay? There has to be a very potent feeling of acceptance this week of where we are, who we've become, and what we're doing every day. Something that is dangerous at this time is to be very dissatisfied with the current status quo of your life, because this is a status quo bolstering energy at an individual level where we have a path and we have a linear progression, and now that has to be. And also, I think that good ideas are numerous on this upcoming week, because you can really see how to be secure and stable, what it takes to bolster your own sense of stability in a really strong and empowering way. But what I'm feeling so strongly, I keep hearing tone it back, keep things as, safe and simple as possible, okay? Nothing erratic, okay? Driving really fast, being late for things and moving into a very erratic or even potentially neurotic phase of being, any type of neurosis. So you might notice this in people around you or even in yourself, where certain things have become a little bit neurotic in your life. Okay, I'm going to get this done, I'm going to clean, I'm going to do whatever it is. And if you were to kind of go out of body or see a third person perspective into how you're living in a mundane way, if that seems erratic or neurotic or even like manic depressive in some way, this week is really about seeing that and understanding that and starting to implement. What an incredible week for implementation in a tried and true way, and to save ourselves trouble in Virgo season. Because if it doesn't happen now, if we can't kind of get a cap on our circadian rhythms, a cap on our output, Virgo season is like, ooh, that's an interesting time. Also, we're about to have Mercury going direct to, let me get you guys an exact date. I'm just looking at the transits. Okay, yeah, just 2 days from now, July 12th. Right? Okay, right when I'm kind of trying to understand this week forward from this sort of timeline. Mercury's direct, guys. Okay, thank God. Things should really get a lot easier. You should really be able to finally fall into alignment when it comes to communications and, moving through your day in a technological sense. That should get better this week. That should feel like a huge relief this week, actually. Okay. Also, I would say that anything relating to the home, anything relating to also parental relationships, communications around those lines, if you, own multiple homes or something, Mercury in Cancer, this cycle of Mercury retrograde is going to really kind of focus that as well. Is there damage to the homes? Is there damage to the relationship with the home? Are we being very erratic within the home? Because Mercury is all about erraticism sometimes, so nervous energy, anxious energy, very quick moving, like a mercurial energy, which Cancer is not too favorable with. Again, Cancer is a much more calm, tranquil, or it wants to be at least, in very flowing and easy, whereas Mercury is quite erratic and electric. So this retrograde cycle of Mercury, for me personally, as I've moved during a Mercury retrograde in Cancer, which any traditional astrologer would advise against, so I've seen all of the perils of Mercury retrograde in Cancer. And I'm blessed that it could have been so much worse for me because I really worked with it and I knew it was happening. That's the great thing about being an astrologer, is even if we know, okay, I am moving during a Mercury retrograde in Cancer, or I am trying to sell my house during a Mercury retrograde in Cancer, all these things that are kind of like a no-no astrologically, we can at least know, okay, I can expect this to be a little bit, erratic. I can expect this to be this way, and in that way there's not a lot of curveballs, or there's not a lot of surprises, at least when things go awry. So as that goes direct and it's no longer retrograde, the erraticism, okay, the electrical nature of your life, like tremoring, shaking, having so Mercury in Cancer also is about like an ebbing and flowing of just our energy levels too. I've noticed, and I've talked to a lot of people as well, who throughout this entire month, like at nighttime, all of a sudden, because Cancer is a nocturnal lunar energy, it's like all of a sudden our brains are waking up and we're getting creative, we're getting excited, we're getting like finally feeling tranquil at like 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. That's been happening to me as well. But we are very connected to the sun. Humans are, and we need sunlight. Okay, it's very important for our immune systems, for our psychological health, lots of things like that. How this is relevant to this week is this is going to be probably a very nocturnal week for a lot of us. Cancer season, again, it's the sign of the moon. Mercury finishing up, all the inner planets joining as well. Mercury and Venus being there and moving us towards Leo season, where we become much more diurnal, which diurnal for everybody's good during this time. But don't be surprised if you're feeling quite different at night about things, or if you're feeling quite different about everything that you've done at nighttime, and it kind of ebbs and flows back to the day, and it's kind of an odd experience. Mercury going direct hopefully will make us feel a little bit more embraced by that and not so, worrisome. Okay, so another thing, being typecasted during this time, that's an interesting thing too. People can be critical and typecasting right now, so it's good, I don't know, to just not be too involved with strangers or not be too involved with people who don't know you too well. I would say that because it's like people are really searching for identity and trying to identify in order to find their own identity right now. So meeting new people, I'm not sure I would recommend it, especially during this waning moon cycle. Okay, it's a very kept to the self, solitary, nocturnal, and safe energy. Okay, people aren't really what they seem right now. Okay, and by Leo season that'll get better, especially by Virgo season. But for this week, there's so many things close to home that have to be worked on. So anything that is a distraction, right? I don't know, too much work, playing games, talking to people all the time. I think that it's better to be a little bit aloof from those things this week. And honestly, for like the rest of this year, we can like go crazy with distractions or things that are offering us a different perspective, keeping us from ourselves. But Cancer season is the most important time of every single year to not be distracted from yourself and to not be, trying to find all this external stimulus to, prevent just sitting and seeing what's going on. So that's why Cancer is like lunacy sometimes too, and it's hysteria as well. In its energy line, we find all those things because oftentimes if we've been living completely distracted lifestyles and all of a sudden something happens, whether it be very mild, like, I don't know, the electricity goes out or something and we have no technology to use, or like very severe, like having no money or something and not being able to distract through like purchases, that can create a lunacy or a hysteria. And as we receive and get more and more as we're growing this year, a lot of us have more budget to work with, or we have more money, or we have more time, or we have more, friends or things around us to kind of distract us. But is that kind of covering up a certain hysteria or a certain erratic behavior pattern? This is really important to understand for this oncoming week. Because it's simply not tolerated for the rest of this year, okay? And this is so important, guys. I know I don't want to be like the like harsh school teacher archetype here, but there's not a lot of tolerance for weird hysterias or like very personalized senses of like lunacy, or just like not being able to get out of bed, or just not being able to like get paperwork in order, or just not being able to like pay taxes or anything, because this is what Capricorn is all about, especially by Scorpio season, once the 8th house gets infused with this too. So it's all about these duties and these like overarching things. Nobody likes to pay tax, but it's like good for the world in some cases, but some of us don't think so. But it's like a lot of money. So there's like bills, there's taxes, there's time slots of work that we have to go to that are very unequal to what we'd like to be working with in our own time. There's like fees, there are, magnifying glasses, everybody's looking around trying to see what's wrong with each other. lots of criticism, lots of things like that for the rest of this year, okay? And because we're trying to get to a time in Aquarius, when we get Jupiter, Saturn in Aquarius next year, where it's like we're alchemizing and we're transmuting that into something more of like a flavor that we enjoy. So in order to get that, we have to identify what's wrong. So if you've identified a few things that are wrong this week, okay, I'm getting chills, guys. This week, fix it, get it in order, okay? Even if it's not complete yet, we have a bit of leeway till Virgo season. I've talked a lot about that, to like really be shifted into, or be shifting into something that's been the idea and healthier and more plausible for like daily, everyday living. We have that time, but all I can say, not for this oncoming